time for more action as the fight I've been most looking forward to on the amateur card is up. Jake Digman, take it away.
The following contest is in the Rocktagon MMA Amateur Welterweight Division, and it is brought to you by Nagel Construction. Introducing first, making his way down the aisle into the red corner, please welcome Tony Mantis DiSantis.
Tony Mantis DiSantis, fighting out of Team Griffin Roll, 23 years old. Took this fight on 1 week's notice. Comes in with the record of 2-0, 1 knockout, 1 triangle. Second appearance for Rocktagon. Been with Griffin Roll for 2 years. He's moved around, and as I mentioned, this is a fight I am especially paying close attention to, as Tony DiSantis, the Mantis, as his teammates at Griffin Roll like to call him, is really someone I see as an up-and-comer. Again, only 23 years old, but one of these guys coming out of Griffin Roll, very skilled, knows how to fight wherever the fight goes. Tony DiSantis is comfortable, but he's certainly going to be tested by a more experienced Xavier Nash. Both fighters here coming from excellent fight camps. Another nice job by Mike Camp of putting 2 guys on similar tracks inside the Rocktagon, and let's see, one will move up and it'll be at the expense of the other one. Let's bring out DiSantis' opponent.
And his opponent making his way down the aisle into the blue corner, please welcome Xavier Spartacus Nash.
Xavier Spartacus Nash from Ontario, Canada. Team Ascension, one of the top teams coming out of Canada. They've really found a home here inside the Rocktagon. Xavier Nash, 4-1. His only loss was to Josh Prezan for the Rocktagon Amateur Welterweight title here in Ohio. Split decision, that was at Elite Series 24. This will be his 3rd straight fight under the Rocktagon banner. And for Nash, he's a submission specialist. 3 wins by submission. As we take a look at the outdoor option tail of the tape, both guys similar age, similar height, same weight. The only thing that stands out is Nash with a 74 to a 69 5-inch reach advantage. And the numbers you don't see in there is the experience inside the cage. 5 fights for Xavier Nash, only 2 for DiSantis. But when you fight at gyms such as Griffin Roll, as DiSantis does, I mentioned this, you have fighters of that caliber, high-level fighters in your gym. A lot of times, you are getting cage-type experience every day in practice. Vaseline being applied to the face of Xavier Nash. This is the 4th fighter on the card from Griffin Roll. Team Ascension has 3 fighters of their own. As Xavier Nash is in the cage, we are ready for Jake to give us the official introductions.
The following contest is in the Rocktagon MMA Amateur Welterweight Division, and it is brought to you by Nagel Construction. Introducing first in the red corner, he fights out of Willoughby, Ohio. He weighed in at 169 pounds, representing Team Griffin Roll with an MMA record, 2 wins, 0 losses. Please welcome Tony Mantis DiSantis. And his opponent in the blue corner, he fights out of Fonthill, Ontario, Canada. He weighed in at 169 pounds, representing Team Ascension with an MMA record, 4 wins, 1 loss. Please welcome Xavier Spartacus Nash. This bout is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds, and when the action begins, your referee is Mr. Victor Ventresca.
Welterweight action in the Rocktagon Amateur Division. Tony Mantis DiSantis in the white fight trunks. Xavier Spartacus Nash in the black. Victor Ventresca overseeing the action in the cage. I'm Ryan Cavanaugh, and again joined by Forrest Petz, as it's DiSantis, who pushes the pace and takes down Nash.
Yeah, Xavier came out in a southpaw stance, and immediately DiSantis closed the distance and took him down.
And he's working on the right arm now of Nash, trying to pin it back, almost going for the Americana.
It's going to be hard to pull that off from half guard.
What does he have to do here? He looks to have it locked up.
Sure, he's just, in order to get any leverage on the joint, he's going to have to pass the guard. But right now, he's just causing difficulty to Nash.
Shoulder strike by DiSantis. Love any of those things you don't see all the time. The shoulder strike, the foot stomp, big fan of those, Forrest.
Yeah, I never liked to foot stomp because it always reminded my opponent that he could foot stomp me. Felt like we could have an unwritten agreement that we won't do that to each other.
Sure.
The shoulder strike was no big deal.
And they get out. Xavier Nash frees the right arm. DiSantis once again going to work on it, looking for that Americana on the right arm. Still in half guard.
He's in a better position now, though. He's got him stretched out a little better.
He's half guard on. He's really cranking that arm. Xavier Nash rolling to that side to alleviate some of that pressure. I cannot see exactly what he's holding on to that Americana. He wants to get the elbow into the body, though. Am I right?
Right. Well, he broke free of it now, but he still looks like he's gonna pester him with that and keep working on that arm.
Xavier Nash, 4 wins, 3 by submission. DiSantis comes in 1 knockout, 1 submission, and so far he has been the one looking for the finish on the ground here after that takedown almost immediately after the beginning of round 1.
Right. I mean, it's still early to tell, but you never know what kind of competition the guys are going up against. Sometimes a guy can look pretty good against weak competition, and another guy can have some tough fights.
Strength of schedule.
Exactly.
And I mentioned again, both these teams, Team Ascension out of Ontario, really an up-and-coming team, but you know what you're going to get at Griffinville. You're going to get top action every time you show up to the gym.
Yeah, all those guys are well-rounded, too. They're going to be prepared to fight. Which isn't to say Nash isn't prepared to fight. You know, it's still early in the fight. We'll see. We'll see what he brings to the table.
DiSantis has had excellent top control, and Nash reverses it. Although it's DiSantis looking for that guillotine choke, and he's got.
Looks like he doesn't have an arm in, so
it's a dangerous position here.
He
rolls into DiSantis is. Oh, Nash pops his head out.
Way out.
Good composure by Nash. We got 10 seconds. Nash landed a couple shots there. Round 1 in the books. His amateur welterweight action here at Rocktagon 27, 3 3-minute rounds. And about 2 minutes and 50 seconds of that was Tony DiSantis controlling Xavier Nash on the ground and looking for submission holds.
Yeah, obviously DiSantis probably took that round, but some of the momentum, in a moral victory for Nash, he was able to finish strong. So we'll see if he can build on that for round 2.
Certainly, it was, Xavier Nash came out looking to strike. It was DiSantis who really closed the distance and body lock takedown.
Right away.
And for a fighter like Xavier Nash, who's very skilled on the ground, he wasn't able to really work off his back. Tony DiSantis kept such body pressure close to him, not letting him get his hips working.
And he attacked with the Americana a couple times too.
It's hard to start looking to play offense when you're defending an Americana the whole time.
Right. And and I like what he did there. I mean, he really didn't have much of a chance of actually finishing the move, but it didn't matter because while he's working offense, Nash is working defense, and so then that limits the offense of Nash.
Well, you can't score points when your defense is on the field.
There you have it.
They don't call me the best in the business for nothing. Tony DiSantis, white fight trunks. Xavier Nash in the black. Tony DiSantis opens up with a front kick. Nash matches him, catches it, and takes him down. Nice trip takedown there. Tony DiSantis. Similar position. I feel like we've been here before, Forrest.
Yeah, so far this is almost a carbon copy of round 1.
Tony DiSantis is it. The work rate so far is impressive as well, as he's constantly working on the top. He's not laying there. And Xavier Nash getting the hips moving, gets out on his side, and
Yeah, the fighters have learned that if you're active on top, the referee's not going to stand you up. So it helps eliminate some of that lay and pray that's so boring for the fans to watch. But a nice reversal here by Nash. He's able to capitalize on a little bit of an imbalance there from DiSantis. He looks like he's trying to pass.
Here he's got DiSantis up against the cage here, trying to get that left hand working, dragging him out a little bit. And there, Nash frees his left hand, wants to land some punches here on DiSantis. He's got to score some points. A lot of round left. Although DiSantis got the takedown with that switch, it's now Nash in the advantageous position. And he's got his leg scissored, holding and straightening out the legs of DiSantis, which will keep him in that.
Right, that's a nice move to help prevent him from wall walking and getting back to the feet.
And that's really something that's become more popular, that position, as he moves to the mount on Tony DiSantis.
He's raining down a few punches. So far we've seen DiSantis as the boss. He's been on top. He's been in control of the fight. And, a good measure of a fighter is how does he handle adversity. When momentum shifts against you, can you shift it back? He's a young guy, so, sometimes it takes a while to learn those lessons.
He's really got him mounted here now. And I look almost for Nash to spin to an armbar here. DiSantis is fending him off by holding his arms up, and I expect Nash to grab one of those and swing for an armbar. Takes him to the center cage, more room to work with.
That's true, but I wouldn't recommend it just because he had such a hard time getting out from underneath him that I wouldn't want to take a chance of losing my position. Because right now he's doing so good on top. Why mess with it?
Sure.
I mean, obviously the advantage there is you could finish the fight, but it just depends on what kind of fighter you are. If you're that confident in your armbar, but otherwise, it's not something I would recommend.
Sure, and you're also risking losing the round. At this point. I mean, and he's got the rear naked choke. He's looking to lock it in. Both hooks in. And now he switches opposite arms. Pulling it. Victor Ventresca taking a nice look at it here.
Right now he doesn't.
Palm to palm, and this is good defense here by DiSantis. Inside 10 seconds, he's just going to pound on him here. Finish the round, score some points. Leave that impression in the minds of the judges, although I think it was pretty clear, Mr. Forrest Petz, that round was all Xavier Nash. Yeah, this is trying to be a good fight. I'd say it's a round apiece, so it's going to come down to round 3. Who wants it more? This was a fight I was looking forward to. Both guys. Xavier Nash is 4-1. His only loss was to Josh Krazan from the Wrestling Factory by split decision. Okay. So you could very well see a 5-0 and a 2-0 guy. Two guys that are in similar places in their career matching up, and one of these guys is going to take a big step forward because a win for either of these guys is a big feather in the other one's cap. Absolutely. I like what I've seen out of Nash. He came, after the first round, didn't really go his way. He didn't seem discouraged. He just put his chin down, went back to work for round 2, and took the round. Yeah, that's the heart of a champion there. Now the question is, can Anthony DiSantis? That's Nash we're looking at, but can Anthony DiSantis come and do the same thing for round 3? Exactly. Like I said, that's what makes champions. Can you shift momentum back in your favor? Everybody can look great when they're the bully. Everybody can look great when they're overmatched against their opponent. But when momentum shifts against you, can you shift it back? Jason Dent, another former UFC vet in the corner of DiSantis, just told him one more round. You got 3 minutes to go. You spoke about that. There's 3 minutes out of your life. Do you want to stay undefeated? And now you got 3 minutes to earn it. They touch glove. DiSantis in the white. Nash in the black. Inside leg kick by Xavier Nash to open up. Xavier Nash, southpaw. DiSantis lands a right on the way in. Oh, and a big stiff left. Nice jab by DiSantis. Xavier Nash walks through it. Looks for the takedown. Appeared to connect pretty well there on the chin of Xavier Nash. Yeah, he was looking pretty comfortable on the feet. I don't know how much I'd recommend keeping your hands down the old Diaz brothers style, but worked okay for him there. Yeah, well, the Diaz brothers, the thing you've mentioned is not only keeping the hands down, but then the mouth has to be open because you're talking. Right. So to truly be a Diaz, you have to insult your opponent while you're at it. While you're letting him hit you in the face. It's not something that's taught in a lot of MMA gyms, but it's been very successful for Nick and Nate Diaz. Right. What's successful right now for Xavier Nash is controlling DiSantis up against the cage, landing some shots, and this is the deal. Oh, and DiSantis with the sweep pushes off the cage. And that's a moment we might remember in this fight, Forrest, because that's how you go and take the round and win a fight.
Well, like I was saying, that's a guy shifting momentum back into his favor. Now we have to see him work a little bit more. The referee may stand him back up.
And there's Nash working on the left arm of DiSantis, going for a Kimura, but he's looking to try and use it as a sweep. He's got it
pretty solid right now.
That's a nice Kimura attempt by Xavier Nash from the bottom. DiSantis fighting it off. Is it difficult to finish it from that position though?
It is with your legs loose like that.
Open guard.
He needs to shift his. Well, there actually
he's cranking it.
But he shifted over to half guard, so that helps some of the leverage.
Xavier Nash is really torquing the arm of Tony DiSantis. And you see that the face of Spartacus Nash really grimacing as he tries, and it looks like DiSantis is going to roll out of it, and he does. Okay. But there's the sweep, and Xavier Nash ends up on top.
Well, you called it. You said he was going to use that and go for a sweep, which is what happened.
We're coming up to 30 seconds in the fight. Nash now grabbing both legs. I'm not sure what offense he's intending to do with that.
I think he's trying to pass guard. 10 seconds. Who wants it more?
DiSantis knows he's got to get busy here on the ground, and this is where you make a final impression for the judges. What a great fight, chess match on the ground. We go the full distance, 3 rounds. Anthony DiSantis, Xavier Nash. Did DiSantis, Forrest, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Did Anthony DiSantis doing up in this fight to stay undefeated and move to 3-0?
You know, I think that Kimura may have been the deciding factor. I think he had him in danger there with a submission, and Nash did get the takedown early on. It just depends on how the judges score it, but if I had to guess, I would say that Kimura was the difference, and that possibly Nash is going to take this. Maybe a split decision, we'll see.
It would not surprise me, and again, that would make it the second consecutive split decision for Xavier Nash, as he last fought in Rocktagon at Rocktagon 24, losing a split decision. And you know, it's tough though when you leave it up to the judges.
Yeah.
There's no unified rules as to what scores points.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get when you go to the judges. That's why you can't complain when you get knocked out. You can complain when you lose a decision, particularly a split decision. But if a guy makes you tap or if a guy knocks you out, you go home and you're crying your beer because you can't complain to anybody.
Absolutely. Well, these guys delivered. For the aficionados of grappling, this was a good fight. They would have enjoyed this one. And let's see if we do, in fact, have what the decision is as we send it up to Jake Digman, who has the official scorecards.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for both of these Rocktagon warriors. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards, where all 3 judges score this bout 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision, Xavier Spartacus Nash.
I'm here with the winner, Xavier Nash. Close fight. You lost, in my opinion, you lost round 1. What was the decision? What were you saying to yourself in the corner after that round?
After the first round, oh man, this got tough. Last one I used to that. He definitely pushed the pace, went for that takedown right away. Well, sort of like last fight, but yeah, glad I recovered. He was a really tough dude, and I'd like to thank all my coaches, Chris Monfoco, Roger, everybody, all my teammates that came out tonight. Matt DiSantis, Andrew Shea, they're competing tonight. They're coming up next in the pros. And James and Lorenzo and Rocktagon for making this happen.
I'd like to thank you for making that interview easy. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, your winner, Xavier Nash.